Hey, and welcome to Share Thoughts. I am Cheryl, and these are my thoughts. I think it's fair to say most people consider foreplay as what should occur before penetrative sex. Some swear by it, others, they're confused by it. Some are unsure as to what makes for good foreplay, whilst others believe that they're just totally amazing at it. It's a mixed bag. Foreplay should be fun and satisfying. It definitely shouldn't be forced or feel routine. It should be relaxed and enjoyable. In this video, I'm going to talk about foreplay and introduce outercourse as an alternative term. I'll be throwing in a few useful facts and pointers along the way too. Okay, I literally alluded to this just now, but by definition, the term foreplay is probably most known as sexual acts and interactions that take place before any kind of penetrative sex. That's how most people see it and understand it. Foreplay can also be the mental build-up before a sexual encounter. Foreplay is not just about our bodies, it's about the mental stimulation too. Stimulating other senses, like smell, with like candles and flowers, is another potentially super sensual pathway towards arousal. Food too. Oh yeah, food can absolutely be a part of your foreplay. You know, you can do things like feed your partner chocolate and chili. These are like two well-known aphrodisiacs. Or you can just incorporate foodstuffs into the actual foreplay itself. Things like playing around with cream. We all know about the cream, but remember, dairy doesn't necessarily work for everybody. You can always substitute it for something a little bit more, I don't know, sticky, like honey, or even like a flavored lube. Anything that arouses you can work as foreplay, and it doesn't have to involve touch. It can be whatever creates a build-up of sexual tension between you and the other person that you're engaging with. For example, dirty talk. Dirty talk is good and can definitely be an effective form of foreplay. If naughty talk turns you on, it has the capability to build up crazy amounts of sexual tension. I mean, you know, he's probably going to get a little bit hard, maybe a little semi going on, and she, wow, let's be real, she's going to get a little bit wet too. Of course, foreplay is enjoyed by all, but I want to go as far as to say it's essential for women. Well, kind of. It's important for women to have successful foreplay because it generally takes women longer than it does men to reach a state of arousal that can lead to an orgasm. Let me just add, this is not a blanket rule, okay? It's just more of a generalization. It's something like only 20 to 30% of women that are able to achieve an orgasm through intercourse alone. So yeah, the other bits, well, they're pretty crucial. Also, I think it's important to add, some women don't even like foreplay. And equally, some men love it. Like they'll do it all day. That's all they want. They don't even want penetration. They just want what constitutes foreplay. Both are okay and both are normal. I think when we consider the obvious basics when it comes to arousal, most, and of course note the wording most, for most women, thinking about it and wanting sex might not be enough. I mean, sure, if it's naughty thoughts that you're having about someone that you're massively attracted to or you have great chemistry with, then yes, I think it's safe to say those thoughts alone can get you wet and even trigger some in-pant activity. But I think for the most part, having foreplay, you know, kissing and touching, that sets off those vaginal juices, which are crucial for comfortable and satisfying penetration. Of course, only if that's what you're after. I mean, let's be real, even without the penetration, foreplay can be wondrous. In fact, for many women, foreplay alone can literally take you to where you need to be. I do think we should move away from this whole idea of foreplay only being a before thing, you know, before the act of penetration. I feel like maybe just calling it play would be more appropriate because in all honesty, what we are calling foreplay is for many the best part of sex. Foreplay can 100% lead to an orgasm all by itself. And at the very least, it ups the odds by at least 1 billion. Also taking into account that not every sexual encounter involving quote unquote foreplay leads to intercourse, it's kind of a given that we move away from this idea that sex is a linear experience that starts with foreplay and then ends with intercourse. There is definitely more to it than that. So, have you ever heard of outercourse? I mean, you probably have. In a nutshell, it's a term that was coined in the 80s that basically encompasses sexual activity without the penis in vag part. So for some, that can be everything but the actual intercourse itself, whilst for others, it can mean everything but penetration of any sort, and that's penetration with a finger, a sex toy, or a penis. Outercourse is a term that's basically putting foreplay in the shade because it's a more friendly way of describing sex outside of penetration, and also it doesn't allude to the fact that it's the lead up to penetrative sex. As we know, sex has no rules, only the rules that you kind of set for yourself, amongst yourselves, between yourselves. But ultimately, there are no kind of hard and fast rules as to what sex should be. And the reality is it's quite normal. In fact, it's very normal to engage in sex without penetration. And that's whether you're in a heterosexual setup or not. Doesn't matter who you're with. It doesn't always have to be about the penetration. And actually, sometimes doing away with the penetration kind of forces you to explore other ways of getting off, basically. So if foreplay is all about the enjoyment and building excitement, it makes sense that we're clear on how, right? We have to be clear on how we're doing this. Of course, I'm not here to be telling people how to have sex. No way. Listen, I ain't trying to tell nobody how to have sex. And for what it's worth, everyone's got their likes and dislikes. It's just not as straightforward as having a blanket rule for everyone. However, there are a few things that are worth noting, even if it's just a, yeah, okay, I noted and go kind of situation. It's still worth acknowledging. One of those things that are worth noting is the fact that this idea that women need foreplay before having penetrative sex is not just a made up thing. There is a biological justification for why foreplay is paramount. When a woman becomes aroused, when she's stimulated, when she is turned on, muscles actually pull up the uterus, which ultimately makes more room in the vagina. Now, you would know from previous videos, if you watch them, that the vagina is an amazing bit of kit that has the ability to stretch and expand and do all sorts of weird and wonderful, I shouldn't even say weird, but do you know what I mean? Do all sorts of stuff. Muscles actually pull up the uterus, which basically makes way, gives more space inside the vagina. This is called vaginal tenting, as in tents, you know, in the sticks, kind of holiday camp, tenting, same word. This is effectively readying the vagina for penetration. So that's an actual scientific reason why foreplay makes sense for women. Also, can I just quickly mention here, intellectual foreplay? Well, I mean, it's kind of obvious, but it literally means foreplay that involves taking the time to discover a partner intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, and of course, physically. This can be absolutely massive for some people, you know, kind of getting to know what works and stuff like that. It should be part of the fun. Personally, I like that shit. It takes things to another level in my humblest of opinions, but that's just me. Honestly, there are so many ways to engage in foreplay, it's mad. There's actually no excuse. I've heard ladies talk about situations where they've been in and the guy just literally wants to go straight in. I'm like, how? I mean, I understand the quickie situation. I ain't naive. I understand how quickies work. And quite often there ain't no foreplay. The excitement is in the fact that it's a quickie. But if it's about a sexual encounter where you're taking time, there's no excuse. Like, what are you doing? Trying to hit a woman without foreplay in that kind of scenario is like trying to stick wallpaper to the wall without the paste. It doesn't make sense. You're going to get a better result if you mix the paste before you slap it against the wall. But yeah, there are so many ways to engage in foreplay for women. I feel as a woman, it's my duty to educate the man then. I'm just joking. Calm down. But no, on the real, I am going to give you 2 pointers because I'm nice like that. These pointers apply literally to everyone. Erogenous zones. I love that. Erogenous zones. I feel like it should be French. Erogenous zones. It works in my crazy ass head anyway. Erogenous zones. Familiarize yourself with them. These are literally special areas on your body that can be sexually stimulated through foreplay, and doing so can just have amazing results. Like, familiarize yourself. Like, seriously, know your body. Know what feels good, what feels nice to the touch, what feels great to the lick, you know, that kind of stuff, because then it could be more of a thing where you're showing the person that you're with what it is you like rather than have them fumble about. I mean, don't get me wrong, fumbling about can be, you know, a bit of fun and all that, but sometimes we need to be clear on what we like. So there's no kind of grey areas, no wasting of the time. Let's just say time is of the essence. We don't got time to waste. We need to get to the orgasm, right? So let's just, yeah. But no, seriously, some of the best E-zones are, I don't know, like the inner thigh. That's a good one. That's a very good one. Inner and outer, actually, can't go wrong. Unless she's super ticklish, or he's super ticklish, or he just doesn't like. Some people just don't like being touched in certain places as well. So that's something that you've got to kind of consider. The back of the knees is a good one. The nape of the neck, quite obvious, but it works. The nipples, again, another obvious, and that's for men as well, because I think, like, some ladies forget that men's nipples are there to be tweaked. In my opinion. I mean, you know. Why not? And ears, to name but a few. I think ears are another underrated E-zone. I mean, when you think about sound, how powerful your ears are to be able to decipher sound and things like that. When you've got someone in your ear, or like saying stuff or licking at your ear or touching your ear, that can be a pretty big one. I'm quite conscious of the fact that I'm talking a lot about ears. So yeah, let's keep it moving. There's nothing worse than someone doing something to you and they're really enthusiastic about it because they think it's the best thing since sliced bread, and you're just like, yeah, no, not feeling it. So you need to be able to communicate. Obviously, we don't do the cutthroat business, especially not in those situations. We can't try and be nice about it, but it's important that you do get your point across, in my opinion. Dirty talk. Now, yeah, I know I mentioned it before, but engage in it. I'm telling you, engage in it. I think it's a game changer myself. I would say try not to make it sleazy though. There is a difference. There is definitely a difference between dirty talk and being sleazy. I don't believe, well, sometimes you might want to go there, but generally, just a pro tip would be just think about the things that you would kind of want to say in the situation, but kind of find a way of articulating it in a naughty way. I am a total advocate for expressing yourself. And I think dirty talk is a great way of doing so. I think when the barriers are down and you're in a sexual situation, which can be quite overwhelming for some, you know, some people can't free up, being able to talk dirty and say what you want and say what you feel in a naughty kind of way, it's quite liberating. Again, this is not about a one size fits all rule. This just works for some. And comfortability is a huge factor. Like only ever, I always say this, only ever do something if you're comfortable. I truly mean that. Plus, when you're not comfortable, it shows. So I guess my final word on this has to be, regardless of the kind of foreplay or outer course that you're engaging in, mindset is everything. I'm here for the mind. Like the mind, in my opinion, this is only my opinion, the mind governs the body. So you essentially control shit. If your mind ain't in it, she, he, or whatever downstairs ain't gonna be in it either. Everything has to work together. It's like the perfect union. The mind has to marry with the rest of the body. I'm gonna leave it there. Until next time, here's to amazing sex and all the satisfaction that you deserve, however you choose to enjoy it. See ya.